that day in the gym 2 weeks before the World Cup. What music's playing there? Just as an insider view into the music the boys are playing.
Well, as an Aussie, mate, as an Aussie, you'd be proud, but a lot of people have their own sort of get up music, you know.
Yeah.
But often AC/DC is actually a key selection.
That's
you know, Back in Black or something like that. Razor's Edge. You know, so no, everyone's got their own sort of get up music, but the older athletes like that old school sort of metal, and some of the younger fellas like a bit of hip hop. So it sort of depends on who's going for what.
Awesome. So if I'm on the bench, I get to choose the music. If you're on the bench, Gilly, you get to choose.
Pretty much. You go change the music on Gilly's phone, mate. You pick what you want and cue it up, and when it comes on, you know it's your time on the bench.
Get after it. Hey, last question on that. Just say Conrad Smith PB'd at 115. Good on you, Conrad. What was the highest bench in this last campaign of the World Cup?
I think Nipo might have got to about 170. Yeah, so nothing crazy. We had a hooker this summer who wasn't in the All Blacks last year, but he'll be in the All Blacks this year. He benched 195 this summer. So there's some silly numbers out there with some of the boys. One of our props sort of PB 270 squat. So yeah, there's some strong lads, but yeah, it's sort of obviously PBs are related to yourself. That's the key thing. But also, you know, we've got it's the joy of rugby is you've got such a range of specimens. You know, we got players that are 78 kilos, and we've got players at 142 kilos. So, you know, their PBs are quite different.
What a sport, mate. So just on that, hey, just look, who's that hooker that just bench pressed 195?
Asafo Amua.
Awesome. How old's he?
Oh, I'd say 20, 25.
Get after it, Asafo. Hey, yeah, let's just dive into the sport of rugby, because isn't that incredible what you just said? Here's a sport, 15 players on the field. You might have a bloke who's 78 kilos, and you also will have a bloke who's 142 kilos. My first question to you on that is, in the 18 years you've been with the All Blacks, have you noticed that the size of the players has increased? Or was there always that many players that size?
No, it's growing. The players have got bigger. My first 10 years in the All Blacks, the forwards gained a kilo in weight each year. So, and in fact, it's probably continued. When I started 2008.
2000. Wow, sorry, I'll shut up.
When I started in 2008, the average size of our props was probably 116 kilos. And the average size of our props now is probably 130.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
jeez,
so now
mate.
a small prop for us now is 123 kilos, and a large one's 140, and an average one's 130. So when I started, we had props at 110 kilos, you know, so it's changed significantly. Our locks used to be probably 108, 110. Now our average lock size is about 125. Yeah, so it's probably a kilo a year for the last 15 years. The forwards have got bigger. Yeah.
Okay, so rugby, we don't even call it a contact sport anymore. We call it a collision sport now, don't we? And let's take a bit of inspiration from Newton. Force equals mass times acceleration. Would you say the boys are as fast or faster than what they were in 2008 when the average was 116, and compared to now when the average is 130?
I think the athletes are as fast, but they're fitter. So yes, momentum is greater, because if they've kept the same speed but put on 15 kilos, the collision is out the gate. Which is why nowadays, you know, soft tissue injuries are, you know, they happen, but most injuries are collision based. You know, broken bones, tendons, you know, ligaments, fractures, a concussion. You know, like it's all basically a result of huge momentum and this tremendous force that's colliding. You know, big humans running as quick as they were when they were small humans, and having more collisions because they're fitter. You know, so you know, I think it's probably why the time loss injuries or the significance of injuries is greater, and the small injuries are less sort of, they occur less frequently. We're more professional, we've got better practices, but you can't, a collision's a collision, and you just need to land a bit different, or go in a bit too high or a bit too low, or whatever, and all of a sudden you've got a significant injury and you're out for weeks or months.
On top of the stuff you're doing in the gym with the boys, Gilly, are you also now, as a result of these facts, you know what I mean, bigger humans running as fast or faster, are you also doing some work like let's just say with like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or wrestling, where the boys are learning to manage their mass in certain situations so they might protect themselves a little bit better as they get hit from many angles or fall to the ground?
Yeah, it's definitely, we practice lots of those techniques, but it's not about trying to prevent injury. It's about trying to dominate your role in that collision. So it's really a matter of, you know, we do that, the grappling, the jiu-jitsu type stuff, the wrestling type work to get better at, I suppose, getting the ball, tackling, holding on to the ball, trying to be better at that skill of the collision. So it's a constant work on, always has been in rugby league, is how to be technically better in the collision. If you're technically better, you are likely to be safer. And it's a fact, and I don't have any data on this, but if we lose a game, we have generally lost the collision battle, and we're generally sorer, as in we've got more injuries and more soreness than if we win a game. If we win a game, we've won the collision battle, we're nowhere near as sore and beaten up. And so getting more skillful in the collision area is massively important.